In the astrological forecast, very significant changes are looming on the event horizon that can have a profound impact on life. The zodiacal circle is preparing for a period of intense transformation, and May 2025 promises to be particularly important. This month will be a defining moment when the foundation for future successes or failures will be laid. During the fall supermoons in October, November and December, the secret will be revealed. The veil of secrecy will be torn away and true faces, ulterior motives and carefully guarded secrets will be revealed to the world. Deceit, envy, and hidden animosity will come to the surface, which will be a serious test for many. The beginning of May, with the waxing moon on the 1st, will mark a moment of truth, when it will be necessary to look at the world without illusions. The space around you seems to be awakening, forcing you to reconsider your established views and values. What seemed immutable and reliable, will suddenly be questioned. People around you will stop hiding their true intentions, and casual words, fleeting glances and reticences will reveal what was previously hidden behind a mask of decency and hypocrisy. Taurus awakens a heightened sense of truth, like an internal lie detector, unmistakably revealing insincerity in others. There comes a moment of truth, when it is necessary to separate the grain from the chaff, to recognize those who secretly do not wish Taurus good. This is not paranoia, but rather a sudden epiphany that allows you to see the true face of people. Negatively inclined personalities manifest themselves at the very moment when Taurus is full of energy and ready for new accomplishments. As soon as he adjusts to positive changes, they immediately make themselves known. Envy, the desire for petty control, energy vampirism, all this comes to the surface. Taurus unmistakably feels who is genuinely happy about his successes, and who is only pretending. Those who skillfully disguise themselves as friends and allies are no longer able to maintain their role. New defense mechanisms are revealed, coming from within Taurus itself. May gives Taurus a unique opportunity to use intuition for self-defense. Whereas before he relied on logic and facts, he now operates on a deeper level. He feels with his skin who is in front of him. Even an ordinary encounter can cause inexplicable tension, and this is no accident. After the conversation there is a feeling of emptiness, as if the life force has dried up. You should not ignore these internal signals. The intuitive barometer is never wrong, and most importantly, Taurus no longer intends to neglect his warnings. He doesn't just sense danger, he acts, he changes plans, cuts toxic ties, sets boundaries. Recently, you may hear the opinion that Taurus has become more rigid in his actions. However, in reality, this may be due to the fact that he has simply begun to show his true nature. The upcoming supermoons bring with them powerful changes that are inevitable but controllable. Solar Taurus, known for their commitment to stability and proven solutions, often find it difficult to break even harmful ties. In contrast, Ascendant Tauruses act more decisively and intensely, unafraid to make tough decisions. However, May becomes a period of unification of these two forces. Solar Taurus begins to realize in which situations their kindness becomes vulnerability, while Ascendant Taurus learns to act more consciously, avoiding the destructive consequences of their actions. Taurus stops being a mere observer and becomes a powerful force for change. It is in May that Taurus shows courage by going against established rules, getting rid of anything that is harmful, and openly confronting its enemies. The entire zodiacal circle feels the tension as Taurus stops being silent and starts calling things by their names, refusing to be a convenient person. This is just the beginning of a new chapter in which Taurus finds himself at the center of events. He is no longer an object of influence, but becomes a force capable of changing the course of events. And now that the main points have been clarified, we can move on to more serious issues. The May full moon, culminating on May 12th, has a determining influence on the course of events, as if setting the pieces on the chessboard of life. In turn, the hunting moon, expected on October 7th, is already setting its sights on Taurus, heralding new challenges and trials. The May period appears to be a time when various traps are laid, but at the same time the keys to overcoming them are provided. During this period there is a metamorphosis in the behavior of others. Those who previously seemed innocent and harmless, suddenly change their tone, and petitioners begin to make demands. Taurus realizes that quiet manipulators, years honing their skills, have learned to skillfully hide their true intentions under the mask of care and participation. However, the full moon on May 12 highlights all, even the smallest manifestations of falsity, making them blindingly obvious. Predators are on the hunt, and their target is honest, open, and trusting people. Under the guise of a friend can hide a financial parasite, ready at the first opportunity to plant a foot. Taurus feels the gaze, evaluating him not as a person, but as a source of resources. Money, connections, support, attention, everything he possesses can become a lure for those who do not know how to take in a human way. These people don't resort to outright theft, they prefer to lure out what they want by forcing sharing out of guilt or an ingrained habit of helping. Thus, money flows through their fingers because of excessive politeness, because of requests that are difficult to refuse, because of jobs that do not pay what they deserve. Taurus needs to be vigilant and learn to recognize manipulation in order to protect their resources and not fall victim to dishonest people. It is time for Taurus to firmly abandon the position of forgiveness, when their own interests are sacrificed under the slogan, "It's okay, because it's their own." Financial prudence is not a manifestation of avarice, but a reasonable approach to life. Achieving a stable position requires considerable effort, self-discipline, and the ability to shield oneself from negative influences. Typical Taurus, thanks to his persistence, sometimes tends to underestimate the potential dangers. His vulnerability lies in the attachment to the established order of things and the fear of losing anything. Often, he continues to maintain relationships with toxic people, just to avoid disrupting the usual course of events. Taurus with an ascendant, on the other hand, is more determined to stop any leaks of resources, but can go to extremes, either losing everything or breaking all ties. At this time, Taurus needs a strong impetus, as well as point actions, a kind of verified elimination of threats. Danger is not slumbering, but the opportunities for defense are now as high as ever. May will awaken in Taurus' long-forgotten ability to feel the energy of people, anticipating their words. The presence of a stranger will become palpable. Those who feed on other people's money and well-being exude negativity, which manifests as heaviness, headaches, and intrusive meaningless conversations. This kind of negative influence is very real. Taurus is able to feel it, and this is his first line of defense, to see the danger and not to turn away, to feel unkind and not to forgive, to be able to say, no, without fear of consequences. Taurus, celestial forces are always on your side, but the initiative and actions remain yours. If you are confident in the chosen path, your intuition will be a reliable guide. Pay attention to the signs, dreams can contain valuable clues, and in the scraps of other people's conversations you can hear the truth. The feeling of discomfort when entering an unfavorable environment is not esoteric, but the result of your developed psychoenergetic system, which is now manifesting itself especially brightly. May will be a period of preparation for the events that will unfold on October 7th, when the full hunting moon will shed light on hidden circumstances. By this time you will be fully prepared. You will not find yourself in the role of a victim, but will take control of the situation, learn to appreciate your energy and stop any attempts at manipulation. At the right moment you will be able to expose ill-wishers and break all the ties through which your life force was leaking. October will bring with it dropped masks and obvious disclosures, and you will meet this period in full force, strong, successful and independent. Because it is in May that you will be able to recognize your enemies. The waning moon in the period from May 13th to May 26th will help you get rid of negative influences. You should not be afraid of the beaver moon on November 5th, even if it creates a tense environment. Remember, the universe is on your side. May is a turning point when you can change your career for the better. In today's world, well-trodden paths and rigid approaches have lost their relevance. In place of the familiar track there is an uncharted route designed for those who have the courage to leave the cozy comfort zone, where, despite the apparent stability, there has long been a lack of fresh air. Climbing the career ladder involves getting rid of an environment poisoned by envy. Pressure is not always manifested openly, but is felt in small things, unfriendly glances, hidden intrigue, ignoring achievements, all these are indicators of an unhealthy atmosphere. While one person is developing, the other is withering away in anger. Envious people rarely express their feelings out loud, preferring to remain silent in the hope that success will turn into failure. You should not give them such a chance. If you can see who is hindering promotion, it is necessary to clearly mark the boundaries of permissible. A successful career requires a clean environment, getting rid of ill-wishers and unreliable allies. Learning new skills is a way to break out of the vicious circle. Learning is not just about acquiring a profession, but also about gaining a valuable resource. Material rewards come not for the labor itself, but for skill, the ability to delve deeply into the essence of the case. May is like a powerful stream, takes out of areas where there is no perspective. If the current work does not bring neither satisfaction nor decent payment, it becomes a source of leakage of vital energy. Now is the time for professional renewal and rethinking your value, which may be underestimated. Changing jobs is not a reckless risk, but rather a step toward wellness and growth. The typical Taurus born under the influence of the sun is characterized by patience and endurance, sometimes even in situations where his soul is suffering. He may cling to a familiar place for a long time for fear of losing some footing. In 2025, however, this habitual entrapment will become particularly evident. Taurus with an ascendant shows more boldness, but is sometimes prone to rash actions. Now it is crucial to avoid chaotic movements and act thoughtfully. It is necessary to strive not just to a place where something is paid, but to the environment where talent is valued and respected, where it can be fully disclosed, and not used in the shadows. Career rise directly depends on the ability to recognize other people's envy. Taurus enters a period when any advancement will cause a violent reaction from others. Under the guise of a colleague may hide a competitor, and behind the mask of friendship, the desire to control. The beaver moon in November will not leave anyone in the shadows. All those who weave intrigues and build intrigues, will be brought out into the open. But this will only happen if Taurus strengthens its position in advance, gets rid of weak ties and stops tolerating those who hinder its development. The end of May looms on the horizon, and with it the new moon, ready to dispel the gloomy aura left behind by the cold moon. The winter full moon in early December is already looming on the horizon, reminding us of the transience of time. For Taurus comes a period when personal happiness depends entirely on their own decisions and actions. They enter the field of interpersonal relations, requiring special sensitivity and attention, but at the same time concealing potential dangers. In this sphere, where it would seem that harmony, mutual understanding and warmth should reign, there may be hidden implicit but destructive conflicts. May becomes a time of epiphany, when the veil falls from the eyes. Taurus begins to see the true intentions of others, realizing that not everyone who is around, sincere in their feelings, and not every smile is worth trusting. It's time to take a closer look at your surroundings, whether family or friends, and recognize those who are actually hidden enemies, perhaps much closer than they seem. Kindness and warmth of heart, which have always been Taurus strengths, at the same time make them vulnerable. Relatives, partners and significant others don't always bring light and positivity. Some may abuse Taurus' softness and responsiveness, using it as a tool to manipulate, control and suppress. Taurus begin to realize that close relationships, which they considered an oasis of warmth and support, have long ago turned into a psychological trap. There comes a time of struggle for true love and respect. Men over 40 may encounter manifestations of fake tenderness, which hide self-serving motives and cold calculation. Women over 45 may experience attention and hear words that flatter the ear but actually lead to imminent disappointment and destruction. In the whirlpool of passions and fleeting infatuations forge the maturity of the human soul. Representatives of the sign of Taurus, illuminated by sunlight, show enviable patience, carefully keeping the fragments of the past and clinging to the elusive memories. They are not inclined to take decisive action, preferring to wait until life's troubles will not resolve themselves. Those whose ascendant is different, on the contrary, act more courageously and decisively, without regrets leaving the outdated relationship, even if it hurts. The harmonious union of these two, resilience and determination, is especially important at this time. True love is not subject to the influence of time, it can erupt at any moment of life, even when behind the shoulders of half a century or more. However, it is during this period on the horizon of life there are relatives whose remarks, reproaches and unsolicited advice, disguised as a mask of care, permeated with coldness and alienation. Taurus, known for its emotional sensitivity, react to this especially acutely. Someone closes in himself, keeping silence, someone with anger slams the door. But the true way is not to tolerate without complaint or to engage in senseless skirmishes, but to clearly mark the boundaries of permissible, firmly stating, "This is my life, and that's the end of it." The cold glow of the moon can freeze the feelings of those who were once the soul of the company, around whom life was boiling. As December approaches, one can feel more and more clearly how close people are gradually turning into strangers. They do not express their claims openly, but the energy field around them subtly changes. Where before there was support and understanding, now there is indifference, and laughter is replaced by criticism and condemnation. One can feel someone unconsciously pulling back, driven not by malicious intent, but by the fear that if they get ahead, they may be out of range. In the reality around us there are connections that pull us back, like anchors thrown into the turbulent stream of life. Close people, comrades who seemed reliable, appear in a new, unexpected light. May becomes a month of revelations, highlighting situations that sometimes make the blood run cold in the veins: treachery, concealment of the truth, hidden animosity. Those who seem to support, suddenly turn out to be rivals or just tired of other people's success, envious. Now they are still smiling, but the masks hiding their true faces are already cracking. If you do not see what is happening now, it will be too late to change anything in December. May is the decisive moment of choice. The chilling light of the moon will mercilessly strike the heart, if you leave those who only bask in the rays of someone else's warmth without giving anything in return. During the waxing moon from May 28th to May 31st, everyone faces another enemy, the most dangerous and powerful, he himself. External threats are exposed, faces are torn off, lying friends, envious and manipulative people are brought out into the open. But the last and most difficult test awaits not outwardly, but inwardly. The karmic denouement requires the most important thing, an honest look in the mirror, without trying to turn away. Karmic purification begins with oneself. There is no one else to blame for what is happening. The person is left alone with the most persistent opponent, his own shadow side, the one that for years hid behind the mask of rationality, desire for comfort and concern for stability, but in fact held back development, forcing to cling to habits and holding back to let go of what has long outlived itself. No longer a place of refuge, she now demands determined exile. Her inner world is haunted by 5 sinister demons whose names seem commonplace, but whose effect on human life is truly devastating. The first of them is resentment, an insidious demon that accumulates stealthily, like poison, penetrating to the very depths of the soul. Over time, it transforms into rigidity, distrust and erects an impregnable wall between a person and his loved ones, destroying precious ties. The second demon is doubt, whispering insidious words about unreadiness, unworthiness and inability to cope with life's challenges. It paralyzes the will and deprives one of confidence in one's own abilities, forcing one to give up prospects and opportunities. The third demon, greed, insatiable desire not only for material wealth, but also to total control, universal approval and infallible right. It blinds the mind and pushes to acts contrary to moral principles and humanity. Fourth, laziness of the soul, manifested in the refusal of self-improvement, in the search for only easy ways and avoidance of work on themselves. It restrains the potential and does not allow to reveal one's talents and abilities to the fullest. And finally, the fifth demon, tolerance to the toxic environment, the willingness to put up with everything and everyone, just to avoid conflict and maintain the appearance of well-being. It poisons life and deprives you of the opportunity to build healthy and harmonious relationships. All these 5 sinister entities prevent a person in finding the true I, preventing the discovery of their individuality and live in accordance with their values and beliefs. However, the expulsion of these demons is not through violence and struggle, but through the realization of their presence and making a conscious choice. It is important to remember that a demon cannot exist where it is not fed. By stopping feeding the resentment with attention and anger, it will gradually disappear like a mirage. Instead of doubts, it is necessary to act, showing perseverance and faith in their strength. Do not cling to what is not useful and joyful, do not be afraid to cleanse your life of everything that pulls back. Everything that will be rejected will be replaced by something stronger and real, filling life with meaning and harmony. The only condition for the successful exorcism of demons, internal honesty with himself. Without it, all efforts will be in vain. But, unfortunately, it is not always as simple as it seems at first glance. Even when the stock of inner fortitude runs out, when fear constrains the movements, and the mind is shrouded in a veil of doubt, the universe does not leave a person at the mercy of fate. In dreams is a heavenly intercessor, guardian angel, to point to the neglected corners of the soul, where pain and unresolved problems have accumulated. Awakening brings with it the realization of the need for change. It is important not to hesitate, but to listen to this inner call, because that is where the path to liberation lies. May is not just one month of the year, it is like a coded message containing the key to personal happiness. In this period is the purification and formation of the program that will determine the course of events in the second half of the year. It is especially important for representatives of the sign of Taurus not to ignore this horoscope, because it can be the starting point for a complete reboot of life. There is no place for fictions or comforting fairy tales, but only a direct indication of what concerns everyone personally. May opens the veil on the hidden aspects of life, and how one reacts to these revelations will directly affect the events of October, November and December. Strength lies in clarity of thought, chance lies in active action, and happiness lies in freeing oneself from the shackles of silence. All the necessary knowledge is already inside, all that remains is to recognize it and begin to act immediately.